Welcome everyone, I'm Pat Mitchell. Joining me as always is Adam. We've got a banger of an episode. This is going to be a issue or a set of issues that struggling traders have all the time. This is a great episode. There's tons of great examples taken live from our afternoon trading clinic, which for those of you that aren't aware, what we do is our afternoon moderator, Kellen, goes with a trader live on screen share, getting to the core of their problems, kind of dissecting their actual trades. And then Adam and I take over after in these episodes, and we dig that level deeper and try and get to the actual root cause, because a lot of people have issues and they'll think about what their issue is, but it's a very surface level type of thought or conclusion that they come to. And then ultimately, you got to go those steps further to get to the actual problem. So that's what we're doing. And the reason why we do this here is because we have a no trader left behind guarantee at Trick Trades. And this is just a way to help them. So we want to make sure that, there are a lot of services out there that what they'll do is they only will post the traders that are crushing it, and everything else. They'll take screenshots of their P&L and everything else for promotion for their service, where we kind of take the opposite approach, where I'm not interested in just promoting our traders that are crushing it. We have tons of traders that are in fact self-sustained, self-sufficient traders that are just consistent on a ridiculous basis. But to showcase that doesn't help you guys out there watching this. So if you guys can benefit from this, we would rather take from the pool of traders, the small pool of traders in our service that are still struggling to come up with getting the right behaviors in place and get that consistency. So if we can do that, it's going to help them. It's going to help you. And I think you guys are really going to enjoy this episode. So how's it going, Adam?
Going great. Looking forward to this one.
Yeah.
It's funny because on those, there's a lot of people out there who are quote unquote crushing it, but you never get to see the journey that traders make. We know you successful as you are, but there was a journey that you had to go through, and so what we're doing is we're actually documenting the struggle in a way that nobody, I don't think in the day trading space or any trading space has. Is you have to get good, you have to go through pain. And so we're actually capturing these moments of people becoming great, how you get from A to B. So it is something to, I think, point out that this is the exciting part. This is getting there, which
this is the good stuff.
Otherwise, how do I get there? Okay, they're crushing it. Well, I'm stuck. And so we're revealing those moments that make people successful. I mean, it's like a documentary into becoming a great trader in real time.
Well, and it's real, right? Like there's so many people out there that are so afraid to share the bad parts, right? And it's not even a bad part. It's just how people perceive it. They don't want to share it. The service owners or service runners that run services, they don't want to share it because it's a bad look for them. And that's not the case. We all know, like if you're a legitimate trader, you understand that especially at the beginning, it's all struggle. It's all struggle. And like I said a couple minutes ago, if we can put out content like that for you guys to show how to get over these struggles, it's such a win-win. There's always going to be a few people out there that kind of miss the point, and they're going to be like, oh man, it seems like a lot of members of yours struggle. No, all traders struggle. It doesn't matter what service they're in. Like our strategy has an amazing hit rate. It's the most ridiculously consistent strategy you would come across legitimately, but it doesn't matter. I can give you everything on a silver platter, which I do, and there's still going to be issues there, right? And that's what a lot of people they kind of fail to realize at the beginning. So today's episode is with Kellen. And Kellen's a member. He's been with us for a while, and he's a real good guy. And he's struggling, and the struggles that he's having are very self-induced. But it's not just that. What happens here is this is such a common problem, and I've literally seen this probably at least 1,000 times. Okay. And every trader at one point in their career does this. So it's a matter of kind of getting them out of that little bit of a dip that they're in. And the dip that they're in is, well, I'll just ask a question. How many of you guys out there watching have missed the good trade, the trade that they were supposed to take, right? If you're doing this properly and you have a trade plan, right? So you have your trade plan, you have your levels set, you're just waiting for it to trigger. Market opens up, 5 minutes in, it comes into that level. You didn't take it. You got spooked out for whatever reason because you thought it was going to do this or you thought it was going to do that. You missed that trade. It worked just to wait 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, whatever bullshit setup comes up next, you execute that trade and then you fuck it all up. You take another big loss and rinse, repeat. The next day you do the same thing, or maybe even that same day you do that exact same thing. And you're constantly taking losses. And then for whatever reason, there's a disconnect in your mind where you're not quite understanding why. But why am I always taking losses? Well, if you were to stop and think and actually break it down, how many times have you done that? And if you were to answer correctly, you would probably say, I don't even know if I could count that many, like, because everybody does it, right? So we're gonna get into the first clip here. Then we've got a discussion about this a little bit further. So let me just go into this. Just give me a second to share this, folks.
Real quick, can I just make an analogy on that, Pat? Missing the good trade, and this is of course something I've done a lot, and I realized I'll use olive oil as a metaphor. I saw that you can take the first press, right? That's the extra virgin. You take the olives, you press them, you get the best oil, and then you can get multiple presses after that, but it's never as good as that extra virgin olive oil. And I think these trades that Pat's talking about are a lot like that ideal first press of olive oil. So are we settling for, do you want to take the extra virgin olive oil and put that on your salad? With the best flavor, the best nutrients, the best quality that the olives have to offer? Or do you just settle for the cheaper grade stuff that is kind of good, but it's cheaper, so you're just going to go with it? And it comes down to, what are we tolerating? Are we going to tolerate the finest ingredients in our life? Or are we going to tolerate stuff just because it seems easier, which actually loses it? So I always try to instill in my mind that, no, I have to have the extra virgin olive oil. And if I don't get it, then I'm not going to settle, and I'm going to just wait for the next first press that comes along. And that's kind of how I try to reason with it in my head, Pat, to kind of overcome that settling for second best.
Oh, that's a great analogy, because that's exactly what people are doing. They're settling, right? Mm-hmm. And settling kind of stems from laziness. Mm-hmm. But I think the core of it is self-respect. Yep. I think a lot of people, self-worth, self-respect. I think a lot of people lack that. And if you were to question them and say, like, do you respect yourself? The answer would be a resounding yes, right? Mm-hmm. But are you actually, in the truest sense of what that means, do you respect yourself? Because when you respect yourself, you'll never settle. You don't settle because you know your worth. And if you know your worth, you don't settle. So once you kind of cut that sort of shit out and you make these decisions to, like, I am no longer going to settle. Like Adam said, I'm going to get that. I will never settle for anything less than extra virgin olive oil, right? The analogy is great. And once you make that decision, this sort of shit won't happen anymore. But it starts with you. But that's ultimately what does go on. And I think that was a really great analogy. And I hope people actually think about that one and don't just kind of glance over that. Like, if you really think about that, you won't settle anymore. And it's about making the decision to respect yourself and to no longer settle at all. So let's start this off. So the audio is a little jacked up. Just relax, though. You guys will be able to hear it, and we'll discuss it some more. Here we go.
So how do we take a $21 loss on a trade that worked?
I didn't pay myself into the 90 of it.
Okay. So you didn't pay yourself, and then you held and let it fail. So should we take a look at that chart? Okay.
Okay, so essentially what's going on in this clip here is Kellen had taken a trade. He takes the actual proper trade. So he takes a trade. He doesn't pay himself. So he did not pull any profits in this trade. And then once it starts coming down and it fails, he gets caught like a deer in the headlights and he won't sell. This is a problem that probably 99% of you that are watching this have. That's why you're here. That's why you're watching videos like this. Okay. So what's going on here? There's a couple of things. So when we first start trading, and I've seen a educator tell people the reason why, and he's not wrong, but he's missing a few things. So I'll get to the point here in a sec. But what this fellow was saying was one of the reasons why traders will do exactly that. They'll take a trade. It doesn't come up enough. They don't pay themselves, and then it sells off, and then they're left holding the bag, so to speak. They do that because they're not using enough size. Therefore, they're not making enough profit. He's not necessarily wrong. He's actually correct in that statement. But you need to earn size, because the reverse can now happen if you take that a step further and you use what his solution is to just put more size to it so that you can make more money, and then you will be satisfied in that trade. He's missing that if you, being an emotional trader that cannot handle entering a trade properly and paying yourself properly, to just throw more size at it, what are your emotions going to be like if, number one, that trade doesn't work? So the way he's looking at it is a very hindsight perspective, where all trades need to work, because all trades are not all going to work. That's not how any of this works. And number two, if you don't know how to work that trade properly with small size, working on just your exits, trading to trade well, not for profit. This is where so many traders fuck this up. When they are trying to gain consistency, they're still trying to make money. The result, that end result of making money will come just through the process. You have to trust the process. You've all heard that statement, right? When you do that, it's not about just throwing more size at it to be content with the trade, because you're not content. You're not content with trading to trade well. What you're doing is you're holding and hoping, looking for a big move, and you're trying to make money off of small size. Like I've told my traders 1,000 times, he's supposed to be only trading with one contract, and we're going to talk about that more so here in a bit. Okay. But he's supposed to be trading with one contract. You may ask, well, why such small size? He's not going to make any money. That kind of defeats the purpose. No, that is the purpose. One contract, you are not going to make any money. So what happens? You are working on the process. You are trying to trade well. You are working on your executions. You're getting the fundamentals down, the foundation down in your trading. So then once you do size up, you can handle that size because you've been through the motions, and it becomes muscle memory and becomes second nature on where to pay yourself into targets properly. If you throw a bunch of size at it, you're not going to be able to handle that emotion. We've proved with the Trick Trade Size Up app for day traders, which is our sizing app. Okay. We've proven this now, that trading small size is harder than large size in this respect. One contract is showing the holes in every single trader that is starting this. They may have done better with more size, but is it actually better? No. What's happening, they may have made money, but there's so many holes in their game that when they actually start using size, like real size, legitimate size, they will crash and burn. One contract exposes everything. One share, one contract, however, whatever it is, equity or options, doesn't matter. It will expose everything that you were doing wrong as a trader. So to just throw more size at it, like I said, that one service provider's solution is, well, they're just not making enough money, so they're not content, so they hold and hope. Well, that's a solution, but that's not an actual solution. That you're not getting to the core of the problem. It's very very base layer type of thought. You're not thinking further. He's playing checkers when you need to be playing chess. Do you understand? And this is the difference. This is the shit that I'm the devil is in the details. Okay. And what Kellen's doing here now, to bring it back to Kellen, is he's not content with that trade. He's trying to make money with one contract. And like I said earlier, I've said this 1,000 times to my traders. What money? You're not going to make any fucking money with one contract. It's not about that. Your account will grow very small and incrementally, which is fine. It's about getting the process down. So what he's doing is, even though I've said it 1,000 times, he still hasn't listened and actively listened and pulled that information in and then use that information about trading to trade well. You will not make money. Do not look to make money off of one contract, 2 contracts, 3 contracts. There's no money there. Throw that shit out the window. If you trade to trade well, the results will come, because instead of booking a $20 win, he now booked a $50-some loss. Do you see how that makes absolutely no sense for a trader to do this? And this is the shit that I see traders do all the time. All the time. In fact, you know, the interesting thing is here, folks. Here's the really interesting thing. I've seen in my day so many traders do this, right? Now, then they look at me on the other end of the spectrum that has found success, and they think that I've never done this. There's a weird disconnect. Now, I was telling Adam a story. One of my first, actually, I believe this was my first big loss. It ended up being a loss for $1,000. It was a similar situation. This is way back when I was trading penny stocks. And what happened was, I don't remember the ticker. I entered the trade and I chased it. It wasn't a good entry. So it was a bullshit entry. But regardless, it squeezed up, went up a mile. I was up about $1,200, $1,500. It wasn't enough. So if $1,200 or $1,500 wasn't enough in that situation, what that service owner said earlier about put more size to it, it's irrelevant. You're just not trading properly. You're not respecting the process. End of story, full stop. That's what's going on. So I didn't pay myself in that trade. I still wasn't happy with $1,200, which that's what I made. Oddly enough, that's what I made every day as a rig welder. When I owned and operated my own welding truck, I made about $1,000 a day, $100 an hour, 10-hour days, $1,000 a day. That's what I made. And I made that in 1 or 2 minutes, and it still wasn't enough. It's greed. That's what it is. It's greed. It's not respecting yourself, respecting any of that. So it comes up, I don't sell, it sells off, it just keeps going down and down and down and down. I don't get out because it's like, what the fuck? I was just up over $1,000. It's got to come back up, right? My P&L just showed me that I was up, and it's got to come back up, right? And it doesn't, because it doesn't need to. Take the loss, I book the loss, and then I'm just like, what the fuck just happened? This is the cycle that traders get into. And on another note, I think it's interesting that, you know, traders think for some reason in my service, they look at me and they think that I don't have the exact same struggles or problems that they do on a daily basis. I do. Every single day. So right now, you know, the market is trying to push you into making a snap decision because it's consolidating throughout the day. It's trying to wear you out. Okay. And Adam can touch on this in a minute, but it's trying to wear you out. And I'm finding that I need to catch myself saying, because I'll say to myself, fuck it, I'm just going to enter. But there's not necessarily a valid trade there, right? So I want to click the button, but I'm not a button clicker. I respect myself too much. I am a trader. I will not click that button. So it's not that I'm immune to these problems. Every single day these problems happen. Every single day, I'm faced with the exact same issues you guys have. I just don't act on impulse. That's impulsive. I'm not an impulsive person. You can't be. Okay. That was remedied years ago. I worked on that because I was extremely impulsive, right? I was so impulsive. I used to be a drug addict and an alcoholic and everything else. You have to cut that shit out of your life. If you're an impulsive person, you have one way to go in life, down. That's where you're going. That's it, period. So it's not like I'm immune to these issues that you guys face. I face them on a daily basis. I just don't act on them. And I think Adam has some really great thought about this. So I'm just going to hand it over to him. And I hope you guys listen to this.
Yeah, sure. And so what we're talking about is decision fatigue, right, Pat? And I think what is decision fatigue? Well, we make tens of thousands of decisions a day. And so what the market makers and just the nature of the market in general is a master at, it's basically faking us out. And so it's as a cat and mouse game of fake out, and they hold the cards. And so we're constantly trying to guess, well, what are they holding now? Is it a flush? Is it a this and that? And so they wear us down with guessing. When we miss the first press, we just go for it because we got to get in. And so by the nature of wearing us down, that's how they take our money. And what Pat's saying about impulse control, that's why we have to get an education. You have to learn. The only way to combat that, to inoculate yourself against decision fatigue, is to have a trade plan, and having clarity in that plan, knowing what your exits are, knowing where your entries are. It took a lot of effort just to learn where to enter. Now, it's like, but then figuring out where to exit is just as hard as figuring out how to get in the game. And so all along this way is you're getting worn down with, do I do this? Do I do that? Do I do this? And you get lost in the shuffle of trying to be right. And so that's how they win. But the only way to get against that is to have a coach like Pat to say, no, I've been there. This is what you do.
Yeah.
Don't worry about he takes all the decisions out. That's kind of the aha moment. It's like, if you understand decision fatigue is a problem, well, you've got somebody sitting here every day saying, just do what I tell you to do. And now you cannot have to succumb to the pressure, the angst, the disappointment, the falling to the trap of impulse. Just know, is this what Pat wants me to do? Is this part of the trade plan? Ask yourself these questions, and boom, this is where we change the game. And it took me forever to realize that.
Yeah, I think people need to, like I've said, and I say this all the time, it's like, I don't want you to think. Let me think for you.
Yeah,
and there's a reason for that. Yeah, it's like, it's not like I don't want people to think for themselves. Some people will take that shit the wrong way when I say that. It's like, no, don't take that the wrong way. That's ridiculous. Your thinking right now, where you are as a trader, is going to get you into trouble. You haven't developed the emotional control. You haven't developed the discipline and the patience. Just let me take that on. Let me put all of that weight on my shoulders. Make the decision making my problem, not your problem. I make the decisions for you. I tell you when to go, right? So if you look at it like a gas tank, what Adam's talking about with decision fatigue, your gas tank is like a regular gas tank, right? Let's say it's 100% full. When you work on your decision-making abilities and when to actually act on those decisions, or when to just like, okay, this is ridiculous, I'm going to sit back. You can look at it two ways. Either you preserve that gas tank where it's 100%, right? And you keep it full, you top it up all the time. Or you can look at it where my tank is not just a regular size tank, right? In a Honda car. Well, I've got a Dodge Ram 3500 tank. It's much bigger, right? So I can handle making more and more decisions. And I'm not saying that you're not going to be able to do that. You will be able to do that, but you need to expose yourself to taking in all of this information and making these decisions day in, day out. It's like the 10,000 reps, right? Like you need to do this 10,000 times before you understand like when to put on the gas, when to coast, when to put on the brake, all of that. Because every little tiny decision takes away from that tank, guys.
Mhm.
And like small decisions, you only are given so many decisions that you can handle. Your bandwidth, that's what you can handle during a day. That's it. So if you're getting roped into what the market makers are doing, where it's chopping, why do you think traders get chopped up? It's not because the market is necessarily choppy, right? That's not the actual reason. It's because you're giving in and watching it and trying to make all of these snap decisions a million bloody times. And
Mhm.
it's wearing you out. And then when it's finally time to like execute, or you give in and you tap and you want to execute the trade before it's even should be executed, it's because of decision fatigue. That's exactly what it is. So now that you know this, understand it, and this is the importance of having a mentor or a coach. Let them make those decisions for you in this time when you are learning. It really is, the solutions to all of your issues are actually quite simple. A lot of the times it's just self-induced because you're too stubborn, right? You got too much pride, or maybe you've been burned before in services. I get that, man. I fucking get that. Like my predecessors have made it very difficult for an honest educator to come out and show people how to do this. Nobody wants to believe them, right? Because you've been burned. Or again, there's other people too, where it's their ego gets in the way, right? Their pride gets in the way. I can do this shit myself. I've heard this a lot. I've never had to ask for help. Well, this isn't regular shit, guys. This is like 4D chess on a daily basis. That's what it is. So it's like, would you go up against a grandmaster chess player when all you've ever done is play tic-tac-toe? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy that traders do this, but that's ultimately what's going on here.
There's one other, I think, secret element to this decision fatigue that we don't know. It's, a car gets gas mileage based on headwinds, elevation, climb, descent. We have to also remember that emotion is going to drain our tank much faster,
Yep.
right? I can make a decision, where do I need to go out to dinner? There's not going to, maybe if it's like a anniversary or something really important, well, there's going to be a little more emotion. It's going to be a little more tense of a decision. But if it's like, well, what mint should I have? It's not going to drain your tank very much. So when we add in money, that is going to make our gas mileage go from 35 miles to a gallon to 2 miles to gallon because of the emotional impact involved in the decisions that we're making. And so now we add into somebody who might be stressed about bills, who might be stressed and living in a state of scarcity. Now you're getting you've got a leak in your tank. You're not even going anywhere and you're losing gas.
Yeah.
So it's important to analyze the emotional state that we're in these trades, and understanding that the more emotional we are, the faster we're going to fatigue. And then the worse, and this is why these spirals can happen so fast. It's because of the emotional impact of the decisions that we're writing with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like to pull a lot of like my analogies, or like to try and help people understand through martial arts and UFC or MMA fighting. If you've ever watched fights and you see there's two guys in the octagon, one guy in the red corner, super calm. He's just waiting, just waiting for the ref to say go, right? The other guy in the blue corner, he's jumping up and down. He's screaming, right? Like, yeah, fuck you, all that sort of stuff. Well, who's going to probably get winded first? The guy that's screaming over there, because he's emotional. That's what's going on. And if you ask any martial artist or any fighter, the ones that are screaming, they get winded real quick. If you have anxiety or you have any type of that like amped up emotion, right? You need to calm yourself down so you can make the proper decisions and preserve your gas tank. And that's exactly what it is. When you're screaming and heavily emotional, I bet you, if for those of you that have never been in any type of fights or trained MMA, go and just throw four heavy punches into a bag. I guarantee you're out of breath, right? And that's what's going on, because you don't know what you're doing. You're emotional, and it drains you very fast. And
And that's
you'll
why one
understand if you,
contract
yeah,
is
that's
so
exactly
critical,
right. Yeah.
because you have to master these emotions.
Yep.
And you mind if I throw one more
No, go
analogy
ahead.
out there, Pat? So, because we're talking about, taking this one contract and then adding in 10, and it's like, we have to really hammer home how important one contract is. And the analogy that comes to mind is, imagine, we're building a boat here,
Mhm.
and you've never really sailed this boat. What happens is, well, I want to go out and catch the big fish out in the Gulf Stream,
Mhm.
and so you build this boat, you throw it in the water, and you get out there as fast as you can, and then all of a sudden you start taking in water. That's not the time to fix the holes in the boat.
No.
You're done.
Yeah.
But the time to fix the holes in the boat is to put it in 1 foot of water, sit there and look at it, and see how buoyant it is, and how the integrity of the shell that's created. And one contract just puts you 1 foot in water. Oh crap, I missed
Yep.
the spot. Take it
Yep.
back. But people are so eager to go out and get the big game. They just take this thing they just built, hasn't been time tested, hasn't even been tested any kind of currents or weather or whatever. And that's why it's so important. You don't want to get out there and sink when you've got the big game on your line, and all of a sudden you're taking on water.
Yep.
We can't stress enough. I mean, it's emotion, it's all of these things, battling decision fatigue. Do I have integrity in everything that I'm doing? And people just want to rush. So that's, it just comes back to why we have to stay with one contract.
Oh, it's amazing how many traders out there that are new to this, because they're obviously watching videos, day trading videos on YouTube. If you go into my comment section, even through the years, just pick on one randomly, there's always like 3 or 4 comments with people that they don't get it about. And even though it's completely explained in the video about why we want people, just like this video, this is all we've been talking about, is the importance of starting and building that foundation, right? And there'll be 3 comments under this video like, oh, your traders must make no money. It's like, God damn it. How do you miss that point? How do you miss it? Guaranteed, if you're thinking like that, you've exposed yourself. And I know for a fact, you're, number 1, you're not consistent. Number 2, you ain't making shit. So stop. Stop the lies. Too many people just like, they try and pull it over on people like they don't know, which is a great segue into our next part of this with Kellen. So I'm going to go back and share my screen. Give me one quick sec, folks. Okay, let's hit play.
Bit lost. How does that say $52? And you put $5 profit loss. What's going on there?
I think this one was a misclick. I think I misclicked 10 instead of 1.
Okay. Was it a misclick, or was it, fuck it, I'm going to take 10 because I need to make some money? Honestly, how'd you misclick 10 instead of 1? What would you do? What happens there? You can't misclick 1 to 10. What did you do? You must have actively put 10. I don't see how you do that, if I'm honest. If you're entering a certain amount into your order manager, 1 is 1. To accidentally hit a 0 after it, and then say it was a misclick, I'm just going to be honest, I don't buy that. I think you knowingly took 10 contracts, and knowingly took 10 contracts off because you saw an opportunity and you needed to make $50. Truth be told, you did, or did you not? I mean, just be honest. I don't know. I can't say one way or another, but I don't see how you misclick 10 instead of 1. I don't see how you can do that, but accidentally writing 10 into your order manager instead of 1, because you've got to actively press that 0 button instead of just a 1.
I remember I was missing out things, especially.
Okay, I'm just going to stop it there because I don't want to embarrass Kellen too much, because that's not what this is about. I hope people understand that. So what happened after this is he then messaged Kelvo and told him, hey, I didn't want to admit it. I didn't want people making fun of me. Nobody, my service is not like that. I don't allow that at all. Number one, that shit don't happen. And we're a professional service and we have adults in our service. So nobody's going to make fun of them. So what that is just, I've seen so many traders do this. For whatever reason, they think that they can pull it over on the coach. And that's someone that is discounting experience. Like I've always said, and we've talked about in other episodes, the truth is all that matters, especially when it comes to a coach-student dynamic. You cannot lie. You cannot even stretch the truth that much. You can't do that. Then we can't help you. But what a lot of people will do is they think, again, that people don't know that they're lying. And I discovered this years and years and years ago, where if I just told the truth, people won't look at me like a fucking idiot, because that's what they're doing. When you lie to someone, they know that you are lying. They know you are lying. They know it. They might not call you on it, but now, number one, they know that you are full of shit and you will lie, especially under a stressful situation, which is not a good attribute of anyone. And number two, they will look at you because they know you're lying. They're just going to look at you like you're a fucking idiot. That's what's going to happen. So what is better? What is a better option? Those two things combined, or on the other hand, you could just tell the truth and solve the problem. Just get it over with. What do I need to do? You could tell, and the reason why I played that for as long as I did, Kelvo obviously knows. He's already went through that you cannot enter on interactive brokers. You can't put a 1 or a 0. You could have a random number like a 3, right? Maybe you use 3, but you cannot actively fat finger 10. It doesn't work that way. If you double click, enter, you may have a double up, and I've done that, but you're not going to have the nice round number of 10. It doesn't exist. We know this. We trade with the same platform, right? So why, after all of that, of Kelvo saying like, hey man, I'm trying to give you an opportunity here to just own up to it. And he gave him 3 or 4 opportunities. At the end of all of that, what he still did was, oh, I don't remember. I think I misclicked. Timeout. Stop. You were just given an opportunity multiple times to just come clean, so then we can get to the core of the problem. Because the problem isn't a misclick or a fat finger. It's you trying to constantly up your size to make money back, losses back. What's going to happen there? Well, I don't know if it showed in that clip, I think it did, but it's a downward spiral of your account because it shows the account progress and it's going down. And it's doing that because you are not trading properly. You're doing all the wrong things. Things that are very solvable, mind you. Very, very solvable. These are all very solvable issues. It always comes down to lies and the truth. That's what every one of these episodes is. That's why we call it the truth behind the trade, because a lot of the issues, it just has to do with a lie. And people need to understand that. If you come in, especially under, like I said, a coach, student dynamic, you cannot lie to that coach. He cannot help you. He can't help you. How can I help you if you're lying? We know you're lying, right? You're not getting it in trouble. This isn't, but it all stems back from, like, I call it kindergarten mentality. And the reason why I call that is because it starts in kindergarten. It starts in the classroom. Okay. That's where all of this shit starts. And that's why it's hard to break, because since we were 5 or 6 years old, we've been told, or we've been taught, that if you're honest, but you made a mistake, you're going to get laughed at. You're going to get reamed out, all of that. And it's not about that. Like, nobody's here to make fun of Kellen. I don't want to make fun of him. I want to help him. I want to see him do well. I want to see him succeed in life. That's what I want to fucking see. I don't want to see him fail. but failure will happen. It's a 100% chance of failure if these things don't get corrected. This is the hard part, I think, for me, like why I get frustrated and why I get like what really sucks is seeing how solvable these issues are, and people won't try and fix them. They'll still lie. They'll still try and cover it up, all of that. And there's no way to success that way. And I think what really sucks is I can't help with that. I wish I could. I wish there was a way that I can't. That is on you. You need to make those adjustments. And that's where it becomes real difficult, because I don't like seeing anyone fucking fail. Well, that's not true. If I'm honest, there's some motherfuckers out there I absolutely fail. Go be on the street. But definitely not my members. Definitely not the people I care about and respect. Not people that are, just trying to provide for their families. I want to see them fucking win, man. That's what I want. Because it wasn't that long ago, like 10 years isn't that long ago, where I was exactly in each one of these members' shoes, where it's just like, man, I'm just trying to figure this shit out. Like, I need to provide for my family. So I know what it's like. I remember every single minute of that pain. And that's why I want to try and help traders. That's why I want to do it, because I know what it's like. And it really sucks feeling lost, right? If I can help in any way, that's what I'm going to do, because I want to see people win. I don't want to see people fail. I want to see them win. I want to see them, because I know there's a lot of people out there that are probably rooting for him and you to fail, because people are fucking brutal, man. They're fucking ugly, right? I don't want to see that. I want to see him win. So at the end of him winning, he can look back to all those motherfuckers out there that tried to put him down and stop him from chasing his goals and dreams. And he can be the whole, fuck you, I made it. That's one of the sweetest things on the planet. Maybe it's just because and I'm petty, but I've had opportunities, and I'm going to be honest with you, it's a great feeling throwing that shit back in people's faces that we're rooting for you to fail. And as petty as that sounds, man, I'm telling you, it's a great feeling. I don't care. I don't care how it sounds. It's like, that's a great feeling. The ones that doubted you, said, oh, you'll be back. Don't worry, I'll have a job for you when you fail, type of thing. You can come back years later when you do find success, and they start tracking you on Facebook or other social media. And then they start hitting you up like, hey, man, how'd you do it? And you string them along and you fuck with them, because I never forget that sort of stuff. That's the type of stuff I want for my members. Because I'm telling you, I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds petty in the whole nine. I know it does. It sounds very small of me. I get it. I don't care. It's a great fucking feeling. And that's just one of the little bonuses. The ability to provide for your family and set them up and to never have stresses again. That's a good fucking feeling, man. And that's what I want. So don't lie to your fucking coach. He's just trying to help you. That's what I'm trying to get at. Don't do that shit. We know you're lying. Don't do it. And you will do just fine. You got anything to add, Adam?
Yeah. Well, I mean, just to cap that off, what are we talking about here? Let's dig a little deeper real quick, because the reason we're struggling is because we've lost something along the way. And really think about the statement I'm about to make. This is something I've learned and I'm trying to live my life by, and I've got a lot of work to do. Truth is a light that shines in ways that we can't possibly imagine. Yeah. Truth goes beyond our little timeline, beyond our little minute candle. It is a daily candle that goes across eons. It's incorruptible. Mm-hmm. And really think about it. It shines in ways we can't possibly imagine. And so when we lie, it means we've lost sight of the truth, and we lost sight of it because we stopped valuing what truth really is. Truth is a rock. You can always depend on it, and we've lost respect for the truth. That's why we lie. We've lost sight of its power. we've lost sight of what it can do for our life when we cherish it above all else. And so what are Pat and I doing here? Why is it the truth behind the trade? Because that is the power of all the light that you need to see what you need to see to find your path in life. So our conversation today is really about self-worth. It's about capturing that first press of extra virgin olive oil from the best olives in the best tree, in the best orchard, in the best land with the best light that made those olives happen. And what, Pat is screaming from the mountaintops is be truthful to yourself, value yourself, respect yourself. Then the trading is going to happen because you cut the BS. It's just respect truth, that it is something that the lies can be seen because a person who's honest has light that you're not aware of to see things.
Exactly.
You can't fake it out. The most feared person in the room is the most honest person because they can see everything, and that's just the takeaway in the show is regain respect for truth in all areas of our life. And then these struggles are going to melt away, just like someone who's faithfully working out and watching their diet.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a great way to end it. And I hope people really think about what Adam just said, because man, oh man, if you respect truth and you understand what truth is and what it can do for you and what it can bring to the table and the ways that it can change your life, because we have lost sight. You see it everywhere. Nobody gives a fuck about the truth, right? It's just about clicks and pulling over shit on people and everything else. And it's such a fucked up way to live, man. But it's become normal. So we need to be the ones out there that go against the grain, which isn't easy to do, right? And you need to seek actual legitimate truth. And if you do that, your whole life changes, man. It changes in ways you can't even imagine. So you got to cut the bullshit and you got to seek truth, because everything becomes so easy. It really does. If you just seek truth. The hard route is lying. I know it seems easy. It's just easy. It'll relieve the pressure. It'll put me back and I'll feel comfortable because they'll just leave me alone. If I just lie, they'll just leave me alone. They're really looking at you like you're a fucking idiot. They're not leaving you alone. They're going to leave you alone in a bad way. They're never going to fucking talk to you again. Me personally, if I know someone is just a perpetual fucking liar, like they don't understand what the truth is, oh, my back's turned and that shit don't come back. I'm just done with them. Like, cut them. I cut them because they're not worth my time. They're not my people, right? I can't rely on them. I cannot trust them. If they lie over something small, what happens when it's something big? What happens when it's time to actually like sack up? Well, that person won't be there, just like, lately, before we wrap it up, it's like everybody wants to be an outlaw until it's time to do outlaw shit. We've all seen that the last 4 years. Everyone talked a big fucking game, right? And you want to seek people that know what the word truth is. And I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Or I'm going to keep rambling. Thanks, Adam. Thanks, guys.
Stuff, Pat. Thank you. All right. Thank you.
Adios.